Hello students, I am Dr. Obasi Nathaniel, and today we are continuing again our instructional video series, and we'll be considering plant growth requirements. We'll be talking about what is growth, factors affecting growth, plant nutrient essentiality, and growth expression. I welcome you to this course, and I know you will really enjoy it. Thank you. Yeah, you're highly welcome. Dr. Obasi Nathaniel will be discussing plant growth requirements in this instructional video. As I welcome you, the growth and general performance of any plant depends on adequate supply of environmental factors, and that includes the 16 elements currently known as essential elements. What is growth? Growth can be defined as the progressive development of any organism. It is expressed in terms of dry matter weight, length, height, and diameter. There are two major factors affecting plant growth, namely the genetic factor and the environmental factor. Factors affecting plant growth and development. The genetic factors concerns primarily the inherent capability of a given crop to give high yield and desirable characteristics. Where such desirable characteristics are lacking, plant breeders could develop a given crop to give the desired characters. Where this is successful, the ability of the hybrid to exhibit its characters depends majorly on the environmental factors. Environmental factors can also be defined as the aggregate of all external conditions and influences that affect the growth, development, and life of an organism. Unless both the genetic and environmental factors are brought under control, the desired yield or characters of an organism may not manifest itself. The major environmental factors affecting the growth, development, and life of plants are as follows. Sunshine is number one. The sunshine that we see affects the growth and development of plants through the photosynthesis process. That is how sunshine affects plant growth, as it releases radiant energy that plants require for its growth. Then availability of oxygen and carbon dioxide, all of these are needed in plant growth. So also adequate supply of soil moisture. Yes, moisture is needed because the nutrients that are in the soil needs to be made soluble through the moisture content of the soil. And when this has been brought into moisture form, they can now be taken up by the plant. And all of the favorable temperature, yes, favorable temperature is also a factor that plants need for its growth and development. Also, favorable soil reaction, that has to do with pH. The acidity and the alkalinity of a particular soil will affect its growth and development. This is because at certain pH, some nutrients may not be available. At some certain pH level, such as when soil is very acidic, some nutrients may be fixed and be made to be unable to be available to plants. So soil reaction is one of the factors that affect plant growth and require development. Then absence of toxic substances. There are some toxic substances that when they are present in the soil, they may inhibit the growth of plants. And so when these toxic substances are absent in the soil, they can be the soil will be able to support the growth of plants. So also favorable root environment. When the root environments are favorable, then the roots will be able to take up the nutrients that are available or in contact with those roots, and therefore they are made available for growth of this plant. Also, adequate supply of nutrients. Adequate supply of nutrients is another factor that is very, very necessary. When a soil can supply the necessary nutrients needed for growth in soil, then that the crops or the plant that are in those soils will be able to utilize these nutrients for their growth and their development. Now, scientists have been using mathematical models to describe growth. Now, growth expression is one of such models that have been used by scientists to express growth, to describe growth in plants. Such mathematical model could be used in predicting the quantity of crop yield expected from the supply of an amount of an element or growth factor. So growth is related to time, whether measured in terms of height, dry weight, etc. So the general pattern is represented on a graph as a sigmoid shape curve. Such graph is what we are seeing in this slide, where we have in the vertical side of the graph we have the total growth, then in the horizontal part we have time, and we could see the curve as it appears. At the initial time, the growth may be very small, it may not be very fast in growth. Then at a point, the growth tends to be quite fast when it comes to when it is related to time. Then at a point, the growth will be almost at a stable point, and it may even begin to retard. So that is the growth expression called sigmoid on this growth graph. Now, nutrient uptake by plant roots, the rhizosphere is it plays a very important role when it comes to root uptake of plant nutrients. So plant root perform double function of anchorage, or anchoring the plant firmly to the soil, and as organs for nutrient and water absorption. A nutrient element that is to be absorbed into the plant must be in a soluble form and must be located at the root surface or within the area of the soil immediately surrounding the root hairs. So this portion of the soil, which is usually about 2 mm away from the root surface, is termed the rhizosphere. So this rhizosphere is the region where the plant roots come in contact with the nutrients, especially the nutrients that are, when they are in the form in which plant can utilize them, in the soluble form and all of that. So the plant can take them up, and this environment is called the rhizosphere environment, the root zone, where plants can actually, through their root surface, take up nutrients for their growth. Now, nutrient elements, the nutrient elements in form of dissolved ions in soil solution have to come in contact with the plant root for uptake to take place. This contact is affected mainly by 3 mechanisms, such as mass flow, diffusion, and root interception. The 3 mechanisms may occur simultaneously, but one mechanism or another is usually favored by a particular nutrient element. For example, calcium moves to the root surface mainly by mass flow and root interception, whereas diffusion accounts for phosphorus supply to plant root because phosphorus is very low in soil solution. Now, activity, what is plant growth, and explain the factors affecting plant growth, and also discuss nutrient uptake in soil. Conclusion: several factors influence the growth and performance of field crops. Some of the growth factors are genetic, that is inherent capability of the crops. There is no level of environmental factors that could make the crop perform beyond the level of genetic factors.